Looking forward to playing Fortnite on your phone from the Epic Store in Europe? Well, Apple thinks not. They're going Steve Jobs style thermonuclear on Sweeney, and I'm here for it. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell. Look, I don't hate Fortnite. I think it's a fine game. I mean, I'd pick Call of Duty Mobile every day of the week over it, and Call of Duty Warzone is coming to mobile later this month on March the 21st, so let me know in the comments if that's something you want me to cover. But anyway, Fortnite, it's fine. However, Epic as a company, I'm not a fan of. So let's get into what's going on with Apple's Epic Smackdown. And if you want to know why you, the viewer, are in the elite 1%, well, that's at the end of the video, and it's well worth the wait. Back in August of 2021, Apple kicked Fortnite and with it Epic Games out of the App Store. It shocked the world, not just because of the popularity of Fortnite itself, but because Epic's own team had been on stage to showcase Infinity Blade running on Epic's Unreal Engine since the iPhone 4 days, being one of the flagship games showing off Apple's Game Center. Apple and Epic were bros. But fast forward a decade and Epic didn't think they should have to pay Apple their cut for access to the platform or the market that they'd created on the iPhone. So they added their own off-platform payment service to Fortnite, bypassing Apple's payment system. And you might think, well, Apple is very closed, it's not really fair that the iPhone enforces this. But on the same day, Google booted them from the Play Store too for the same thing. Epic had an issue with this on phones, having to pay 30% of their in-app purchases to the phone store operators, but took no issue with doing exactly the same at the same split when it was on a console, Xbox or PlayStation. The big difference between iOS and Android though is that there are other smaller app marketplaces on Android, so Epic continued to distribute Fortnite on there through the Epic Games Store on Android. For Apple, however, the only way to install apps on the iPhone or iPad, at least without a lot of developer workarounds and Xcode buffoonery, is Apple's own App Store. So, other than streaming in a browser through Xbox Cloud or the like, you were out of luck on Apple's platform. Court cases ensued with both Apple and Google taking the stands in their respective trials against Epic, but no judgments basically came down to say that they should be allowed back on the App Store. Small concessions were made, and we got some great content out of it because we found out loads of behind the scenes emails that we were never supposed to see, but nothing that would bring Fortnite back to the iPhone. Until the EU decided to get involved again. Not content with deciding what shaped holes should be in our phones, they also required that other app marketplaces should be allowed on iPhone. So Apple complied. All you'd need was a $1 million credit line and pay Apple €0.50 per user per install each year. Oh, and an Apple developer account of course, and here Epic may have stumbled. With the new app marketplaces, Apple won't review the content of apps, but to keep its users safe, it does basically scan apps for malware at the point of being submitted. The last thing Apple wants is to be inundated with phones riddled with malware in its Genius bars at the stores, but when you break your contract with Apple, they have every right, as per the terms of service, to remove your developer account. And that's what Apple has done to Epic. In a statement to Mac Rumors, Apple said,
Epic's egregious breach of its contractual obligations to Apple led courts to determine that Apple has the right to terminate any or all of Epic Games' wholly owned subsidiaries, affiliates, and/or other entities under Epic Games' control at any time, and at Apple's sole discretion. In light of Epic's past and ongoing behavior, Apple chose to exercise that right.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer Sweeney. When you intentionally create a controversy by intentionally breaking your supplier's terms of service and then publicly burn the company for taking down your products in their store, you have to suck it up and deal with the consequences like a big boy. It's like walking into a supermarket with bags of your own merch, setting up a table in the middle of the store and selling your own stuff without paying to be there or giving a cut to the store owners and then being mad when they boot your ass out the door. I mean, this is barely even a metaphor. It's just a digital store, not a brick one. Samsung can't rock up at the Apple Store and take over one of the tables. It's not a thing. So what happens next? Who knows? Mobile gaming is the biggest platform for gaming on the face of the earth. That's not hyperbole. In 2021, Apple earned more from gaming than Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo and Activision combined. In 2023, iOS brought in $44.7 billion, with Google Play generating $33.3 billion. In the past 6 months, Apple has released the A17 Pro and the M3 chip lines, both of which support hardware-accelerated ray tracing, which is huge for gaming going forward. So Apple's not resting on their laurels here. Some say that Apple is limiting choice by preferring to have a single source for apps, where everything is reviewed and should do what you expect it to do when you install it. I personally think that Europe is the one taking away the choice by forcing Apple to allow third-party app marketplaces onto the iPhone. Because right now, you can choose Android's customizable, fairly open, free-for-all model, or you can choose Apple's more curated, checked, and secured walled garden. The EU forcing other app marketplaces takes away that choice to have the safer, rails up at the bowling alley type option. And I know which way I prefer my kids going bowling. I know, you know exactly what you're doing. You should be able to do whatever you want with the device that you've bought. That's great. And you're probably right, you're probably very competent and won't get taken advantage of with your iPhone. But you're not the average consumer. You're probably in the top 5% or so of the most tech-savvy users simply because you're watching a video about tech in the first place, and probably in the top 2% if you're still watching a video about the nuance of why one developer has been kicked out of one specific app store. And this is why tech YouTube might just be broken. Most people, 90% or more, have no interest in this. 95% don't think that iPadOS is holding back the iPad and needs more power and features. They want a nice, clean, simple computer that can do all the stuff they need. Like my mum. She loves her iPad. She doesn't want to run Xcode on it. And she loves the fact that she can do all of this without having to worry about managing memory or defragging hard drives or antivirus software. All most people want to do is be able to look at nice pictures and videos that look really nice because the displays are lovely, and not worry about their device being ruined by malware or checking where the app is coming from. And this is the issue. Tim Sweeney is a 0.1% geek who thinks everything should be open source, except obviously his games, because he wants to make all the money, and there should be no limits. We, the people who watch this stuff, we are the tinkerers, we are the customizers, the ones who wonder if that could work. Most people have no interest in custom app icons, let alone being able to write Xcode on their iPhone or root it. Less than 0.2% of iPhones sold were ever jailbroken. They've sold 2.3 billion and about 4 million ever got jailbroken. That's how much the public hates Apple's walled garden. Around 4 million out of 2.3 billion iPhones. It's easy to think that everyone wants total freedom with their devices, but actually, most people want a phone that works reliably, takes really nice pictures and videos when they're out with their friends and family, and doesn't send their data off to everyone to subsidize the device. At least, that's what the data shows. And if you as an app developer value the idea of 2.3 billion devices as your market, maybe it's just worth paying Apple their cut. Am I way off base here? Let me know down in the comments. If you've got a question about any of this, use hashtag iCaveAnswers or any Apple question that you've got. Thank you so much to my Patreons. These guys are epic, but not like that. See you in the next one. Want the latest Apple news, leaks and rumours? Subscribe and ring the bell. And a public service announcement from Editor Dave. Have you subscribed to the podcast yet? Aluminium. Apple News with a British accent. Subscribe. Subscribe to iCave Dave.